Hello everyone! Today we're going to be making some gluten and dairy-free mini pumpkin pie cheesecakes, just in time for Thanksgiving. Here I'll be showing you a list of the ingredients we will be using in today's recipe. These pumpkin pie mini cheesecakes are a great alternative to traditional pumpkin pie that you make for Thanksgiving, and they're all individual sized, so they're super easy to serve. We're first going to be starting with some brown sugar. You're also going to be needing some coconut sugar and cane sugar, a plant-based butter or margarine, some coconut cream cheese, a couple of eggs, your pumpkin puree, some icing sugar, your spices, ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves, also some gluten-free gray wafer crumbs, as well as some vanilla, and I think that's probably about it. Oh yeah, some salt as well. We're also going to need a 12-tin muffin tin. I'll show you mine here where it's lined with 12 silicone reusable liners. You're also going to be needing some glass bowls and some spatulas. You're going to be making the mixture for the cream cheese and for the pumpkin filling separately and then combining them a little bit later, so you will need a couple of glass bowls for that as well. You will also need a hand mixer and a container, I guess, to put them in the fridge to chill. And that's about it. So let's get on with making this fabulous recipe. I will also be providing later in the video an actual ingredient list and the measurements, so you'll be able to pause the video when it comes to this section so that you can write it down and have it forever. So welcome everyone back to my channel. I'm DIY Deborah and I specialize in gluten and dairy-free recipes. If you enjoyed this content, please give it a thumbs up and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and while you're at it, hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload new videos. So here's the section of the video where I provide the ingredients and the ingredient list. So now would be a good time to pause for you to write it down so that, again, you have it forever and can make it this holiday Thanksgiving season. We're first going to be making the graham wafer crust, where you're going to be adding 3/4 of a cup of gluten-free graham wafer crumbs. I also add an 1/8 of a cup of coconut sugar to give the base a nice caramel flavor. You're also going to be adding an 1/8 of a cup of melted dairy-free butter or margarine. You're going to combine well, and then we're going to be putting into our silicone molds. You're then going to be taking 1 tablespoon of the crust mixture and putting it in the bottom of each silicone muffin tin. You can press it down firmer with a fork, and as you see here, I will also use a small glass to put it nice and firm into the bottom of the pan. You are then going to refrigerate these while you make your pumpkin pie cheesecake filling. We are then going to be taking our spices, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg and ginger, 3/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and a dash of cloves, as well as 1/8 teaspoon of salt. We're then going to add a half a cup or a quarter of a cup of brown sugar and our pumpkin puree, and then we're going to be combining this really well. We are then going to add our 2 eggs and combine really well and set aside. In a separate bowl, we're going to be adding 375 grams or 1.5 blocks of your coconut or dairy-free base cream cheese. You're then going to be adding 1/4 cup of cane sugar. And then we're going to be adding our vanilla bean paste. You're going to combine this really well and set aside. We're going to take our cream cheese mixture and add it to our pumpkin puree mixture. We're going to be using a hand mixer and combine until really smooth. We're then going to be taking 1/3 cup measuring cup, not quite filling it full, and putting it on top of the graham wafer crust base in each muffin tin, as you see here. Once all 12 muffin tins are filled with the delicious pumpkin pie cream cheese filling, we are then going to put in the oven and bake at 350 for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, remove your cheesecakes from the oven and they will look something like this. Let them cool on the counter for approximately 15 to 30 minutes. Then you're going to put them in an airtight container and refrigerate overnight, or at least for 2 to 3 hours. I got this nifty little cupcake carry-all container from the dollar store for just a couple of bucks. Super easy, super super convenient to put your little mini cheesecakes and have them in the fridge overnight or for at least 2 to 3 hours before you frost. Okay, now for your frosting, you use a dairy-free butter or margarine, some icing sugar, a tiny splash of plant-based milk, and your vanilla bean paste or vanilla extract. You combine this. I just usually kind of eyeball the measurements until I get a desired thickness that's going to be suitable for putting in your icing bag and putting onto your cheesecakes. So you can just follow along and see how I make this. I forgot to tell you this earlier, but your dairy-free butter or margarine should be softened prior to making this recipe. I also add a sprinkle of the cinnamon sugar and cinnamon to mix in with the icing for additional texture and flavor. So once I've used a little bit of elbow grease and combined my icing really well, I'm going to be taking my piping bag over a glass so that it's a lot easier to fill my icing into the piping bag. Once this is done, we're then going to be ready to ice our mini cheesecakes. So you can use whatever tip you want on your piping bag to get your desired look for your icing on your mini cheesecakes. So you just swirl them around, sprinkle with a little cinnamon sugar and cinnamon, and voila, there you have it. Beautiful, decadent, yummy, mini pumpkin pie cheesecakes in time for Thanksgiving. Mwah! Don't these look fabulous? I hope you make these, and let me know in the comments down below how they turned out. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye!